Support Group. I'm Jules Lane, and we are continuing through Rally. I hope you guys are diving in. I know you've got stuff flying at you left and right. I get it, I do too. But we need to stick with this because this is some really, really great information that we need embedded in our minds. And this week, week 3, chapter 3, was about renewing the mind. I hope you really, really, really worked at that list truth journaling method. It was so helpful for me this week. I did it with my kids, I did it with my husband, I did it just based on my own stuff. And it's so helpful. I will use that over and over again, not just through the rest of the study, but that's something that's going to stick with me for sure. So this week, we looked at how Satan operates, how the enemy operates in our lives. And I hope you saw there that he's a liar. He's the father of lies. He's an accuser. He leads the whole world astray, and he waits for an opportune time, like when you're going through a study about trials. Yes, some of you guys can relate. You're having trials. That's to be expected. And we're going to get this information. Be determined, be diligent, stick with it. Do not let him derail you. Recognize his plot and turn to God instead. Okay, so renewing the mind this week, about turning to God. But one of the things that I thought was very interesting that she talked about in here was how the enemy would love nothing better but to destroy relationships in your life. To use other people to hurt you or frustrate you or anger you or annoy you. And so we have to be aware of that. And I love this verse in Ephesians chapter 6. Let's see if I can get my Bible here. Ephesians chapter 6, verse 12. For our struggle, and the King James Version and other versions say we do not wrestle, is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the powers of this dark world, and against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realms. Another one is here, we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. So a lot of times we like to focus on what we believe is the source of our pain when we're dealing with pain in relationships. We like to focus on that person, and that person's wrong, and they were rude to me, or they did whatever to hurt my feelings. And God is telling us here that they aren't the true enemy. Those people that he has put in your life, they are not the enemy. The enemy is the evil one. The enemy is your flesh desire, right? So we need to be aware of who the enemy actually is. Just like we need to be aware of how he operates, we need to be aware of who he is. And that when we attack each other and we go after each other and we're ugly to each other, or get offended, that's not accomplishing anything, right? It's actually playing right into Satan's plan for us. And then Barb mentions here 2 Corinthians 10, 3-5. For though we walk in the flesh, we do not war according to the flesh. So there again, we're bringing back that struggle, that war, that battle that we have is not with, fleshly beings. Yes, we may have to war against our own flesh desires, but we do not war according to the flesh. For the weapons of our warfare are not for the flesh, but divinely powerful for the destruction of fortresses. How many of you guys need some fortresses, strongholds, things like that torn down? Yeah, I do. We are destroying speculations and every lofty thing raised up against the knowledge of God, and we are taking every thought captive to the obedience of Christ. Okay, so that's the purpose of renewing our mind. I really hope you got into that this week and that you took those thoughts captive and really focused on who the true enemy is here. So what I want you guys to share in the comments, and we're going to make this super short because I have to paint today, which is what this is all about. And so I have this ratty shirt on. But something that this shirt reminds me of is that relationships can get tattered like this shirt when they're used and abused, right? And they can start falling apart and looking terrible, especially if we're focusing on the wrong thing. And so we need to focus on who the actual enemy is when we get in those conflicts and those tough times with other people. And we need to direct our spiritual warfare where it belongs, okay? Not at that person, you know, at the enemy, the true enemy, okay? And going to God for help with that. So your question this week is, how did using the list truth journaling affect your day? Did it help you? What did you learn from it? Was there anything new you learned about renewing the mind this week that you didn't already know? So these are some things to discuss. I really want to hear from you guys. Your answers just really inspire me. I love reading through them. Even though I don't have time to comment to everybody, just know that I am, and I am praying for you guys as we wage war, we press on, and we keep on toward the prize. Now, next week, we're going to do the second stage of rally, which is called, as soon as I find it, I believe it's Ask and Accept. Yes, Ask and Accept. Chapter 4 is going to be next week. So this one, I've already kind of read ahead. So I kind of have an idea of how good this one's going to be too. It's not going to be an easy one, except, but press on with me, stick with me. Do not give the enemy a foothold. Be strong, ladies. You are warriors, children of the one true King.